Did you fart? Oh, yeah, you farted.
It was not. No,
That's
Chris.
nice.
Wait. We have a dog we can blame it on. Let's just take
I'm
the
not
high
smelling
road.
anything over
Chris, I
here,
feel like
so
you
it was one of you three.
I don't smell anything.
So I got
over
nothing.
here.
Maybe you're just thinking of your favorite Leonardo DiCaprio movie, The Departed.
Oh,
Boom.
Got him.
My name is Bradley Jones.
I'm Andrew Moldenhauer.
and I'm Andy Hubert.
And special guest.
Chris Taisey.
And this is not a movie review podcast, but a podcast where we try to recall what happened in a movie we haven't seen in a very, very long time. This is what we remember about Hook.
Were there 2 or 3 bad guys in Home Alone? And who was that forgetful fish in Finding Nemo? Join us as we're watching films. See what we remember and what memories we kill. Let's start the show. Here we go. This is what we remember.
So, Chris Taisey is here with us, and he chose the movie Hook. Why did you pick Hook, Chris?
Well,
what does this movie mean to you?
Growing up, I probably watched it the most of any other movies. That said, I don't have a great memory for movies, so a lot of your movie references will be lost on me. And I almost felt like I had to cheat and do a little bit of research, but I refrained. I did.
We appreciate that.
But I did love the movie growing up, and it's just something, I watched with my family a few times. And
It's definitely a family movie. I saw it with my family in the theaters at the Dollar Show.
I did not see this in theaters, but I had it on VHS and I watched it all the time.
Yeah, I think I would be too young to watch this in the theaters, but I've seen it a ton of times.
Yeah, I remember this is the first movie where we got 2 bags of popcorn, but we only got 1 large popcorn, and we just split it up between us, and that's genius.
Hey, there you go.
Why didn't we do this the whole time?
Because it's cheating, Brad.
we always brought our own popcorn.
Well, that's mega cheating then.
Oh,
if you're
my.
doing that, that's super cheating. Okay, so how does this movie start? I know that Robin Williams is a bad dad because he misses his son's baseball game.
Yeah, he's like...
Is he on a plane? Something like that?
They get on a plane early because they have to go to England.
Yeah.
But it starts with like him in his office, and he's about like getting ready to leave for the day to go on. Or it starts actually with his kids' play. They're in Peter Pan, the play at their school. Yes, and he's like late to the play maybe, and then his phone rings during the play, and his wife's like, "This
is the
frickin'
daughter
guy."
and the son in the play?
I think it's just the
Just
daughter.
the daughter, and she's playing Wendy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he has 2 young children. The
Yep.
daughter is probably like 4. Some's
It's
like
Jack
7,
and Maggie. Yeah,
7.
she's pretty young. She's definitely the younger of the 2. Mm-hmm. Boy Jack has like a little league game, which again Robin Williams totally misses. He shows up at the field after the game, so it's empty, and like he comes over the hill and then he sees it's gone. He's like, "Oh, I'm in trouble."
But didn't they tape it or something? Wasn't that like a big thing? It's like, oh, I can watch the videotape, and it's like,
Yeah, well, his wife.
same.
Yeah, when they're at the game, the wife is videotaping it so that he can watch it later. The overall idea is that he's a neglectful dad.
What does that remind you of, huh?
It reminds
Mrs.
me of
Doubtfire.
Steven Spielberg.
It reminds you of a lot of things, I guess. My own child.
Daddy.
So he's kind of like a stick in the mud, right?
Yeah, well, he's all
he's
about
very
business.
strict.
Yes.
Cut
He's
up
very
with
business.
work. What does he do? For a
I
living?
don't know if he's a lawyer or if he's like a business. He's like a business attorney guy. He's
Mr.
like
Business,
because he
again.
references like a big like deal or merger that's coming up. But I think he's a lawyer. Yeah, no, he is a lawyer because he says that when he's in Neverland, he tells them he's a lawyer.
I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You're a crook, Captain Hook. So won't you throw the book? I had to say it sometime in the podcast. I just did it right then. So
Why I
they're
chose it.
so they're going to Wendy's house, right?
Yeah,
and it's
In England?
Yes.
Rob Peter's wife's mom.
Yeah. Yeah. It's her grandmother.
Oh,
She's like super
Oh
old.
yeah, she's like
yeah.
90 something.
Yeah.
but she's the original Wendy from.
She is.
she's
Yeah,
the
she's
Wendy.
the original Wendy, which you find out. She's the original Wendy, and they're going because
She doesn't have a lot.
she's
time
opening.
left,
They're
right?
opening a new wing to like this orphanage that she founded, and it's like the Wendy Memorial Wing, even though she's not dead yet. So it's like this big dinner in her honor, and so like because I guess the idea is that she's helped a ton of orphans, including Peter Pan, find homes, but he doesn't realize that he's Peter Pan.
Or yeah, he doesn't know. His name is Peter though.
Well,
Yes.
he forgot. I mean,
It's
Does
Peter.
he go by Pete?
It's Peter Panning. is like the name he has now. And
Peter Panning?
Peter Panning, yes.
It's pretty weak.
I mean, not a very original. But,
is it Maggie Smith?
It is Maggie Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who plays Wendy?
Yes.
And she is still wearing like old person makeup.
She did, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No,
She
yes.
is yet, but-
Yep. They specifically had to make her look like she's 100 years old.
Mm-hmm. So they go to the same house that's in the original play, and however iteration of Peter Pan you want to relate it back to. Because there's the dog out front.
Yep.
And it's like the same bedroom, and everything's just very similar. And things just start like coming back to him once he gets there a little bit. Wendy is mad at him because at some point he disciplines the kid for doing something wrong.
Yeah, well, like the idea was that the family could finally go and be a
kid,
family and have a vacation and see, Wendy, who's amazing, and he keeps taking telephone calls for business, and he's still in a grumpy mood. Like he was grumpy on the plane ride over.
Well, his I think
although
son.
His kid was being annoying.
He wasn't. He's kind of a d-bag kid.
The kid was bouncing his baseball off of every surface in this plane, and if I was one of the other passengers, I'd be like, if he doesn't, I'm gonna take that kid to the back and just strangle him myself.
Wow. That is extreme parenting.
Do you not do that on planes? I mean, that's like I've done that at least 3 or 4 times.
You just ask the stewardess to help you out. You don't take matters into your own hands.
About that.
But was he
strangle that
kicking
kid.
the seat in
That's why
front
you
of
can't go
yours?
on Delta flights anymore, Andy.
I just assumed it was because they didn't like me.
Well, that too.
Well, yeah, they don't.
Yeah, it's a
Why can't they separate murdering kids from liking?
So there's like I remember this like house caretaker guy who has
Toodles.
Isn't he like mute or something?
No,
he's
he
just
has a
like
joke.
crazy.
He has a joke where he's looking around the house and he's like, "Can I help you find something?" And he's like, "Oh, I lost my marbles." I remember my mom loving that joke as a kid.
Yep.
He thought it was the funniest thing of all time.
Yep, it's true. He's always looking for his marbles because he lost his marbles, and he's kind of crazy. Oh, and then he yells at the kid too because he has like the window in their bedroom open, which leads out to like this balcony on like the 3rd floor of wherever they are, and he told them not to open this door.
Yeah, and he comes up
and he's all mad because it's open again, and they have a big fight. And I think the wife throws his cell phone out the window. Like, because she's...
one of the kids does,
I do remember the cell phone landing in the snow.
Oh, yeah, it's like she's fed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like
she wants him to be a
dad.
dad.
Yep.
Because he's about to like put the deal through or like make the big deal, I think, right?
Yeah, or like something happened that's threatening this deal at the last second, so he's trying to take care of it.
And he explodes.
He does.
Right? When that happens. He is not a happy camper.
Yep.
Doesn't the family like leave the house like without him or something like that?
No, he's there. The kids are at home, but the rest of them go to the dinner. For Wendy,
but I thought
he stays to do work.
I thought Robin Williams went to the dinner too.
He does, yeah.
Okay.
He goes to the dinner with the only people still at the house are like
the children.
Toodles. There's also like some other lady at the house too, who's like a maid or something, but she's there, and then the kids are there.
Oh, so it's the kids, the guy that lost his marbles, and then this other person, and that's when. Is that when like Captain Hook comes in, or
you don't get to see what it is, but some
entity comes.
You get like a first person view of like going into the house, and then
like the little daughter screams, and then it just like cuts or something.
Yes, back to the dinner, and then they get home from that and see that a window's broken on the front door, and then they follow like this scratch all the way up where there's a knife with a note.
I remember that part.
It's so cool.
You do see him drag the hook.
Oh, you might see, see them dragging the hook first.
That hook is so shiny. He keeps
it is.
He keeps that looking nice.
And that's then they call the police, and they're like, some guy named James Hook took my kids because.
But like Wendy's like hip to what happened.
Yeah, Wendy's like
Peter, you gotta go save your kids.
And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you're Peter Pan. I've gone over this with you for the last 50
yeah,
years.
Dummy, you just forgot.
Yeah, she's like, you don't remember, basically, like.
Yeah.
And he just thinks she's being ridiculous, like
or senile.
Yeah, he kind of thinks that she's being like she's told that story too many times, and now she believes
her
it.
own lies.
Yeah, that's what he kind of treats it that way.
And I think there's like a component too, like when you get older, you lose a lot of your imagination, and you lose your memory of Neverland if you've been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're not there, you just forget that you remember.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like if there's actual canon behind that.
Okay, so how does he get to Neverland? Does Tinkerbell come?
Yes, Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell.
Yeah, but you just see like a glowing light at first, right? You don't see
Right.
her yet.
Well, yeah. She comes in, like, he's in the room that the kids had been in when they were taken, and then, like...
So, like, the police are there investigating, and then
he's,
like, separated?
It does, like, a jump cut from finding the letter to, like, the police, like, concluding what they were doing at the house and being like, we'll let you know if we find anything, and leaving.
Okay.
And
then he's all alone, and that's when the Tink comes
that's
in?
when Tink shows up and, like, beats him up.
One in the tank.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
she's talking to. She's like, you have to remember, Peter.
Yeah, she's like, don't you remember me? And then she has, like, the classic, like, he sneezes her into a dollhouse, and she, like, plays dead.
That's what it
and
was.
she's like, oh, I'm dying. And, like, makes him clap to, like, bring her back. And she's like, oh, I'm back now.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that happened.
Yeah, I thought she was used sparingly in the film, but I guess they just went all out.
But then eventually she just, like, knocks him out and straight up abducts him. And, like, sprinkles dust on him, and then they fly away. And
so he gets into Neverland. Wendy's maybe looking out the window, like, seeing the wonderness of all this stuff.
It could be.
So does he first land with the pirates when he gets to Neverland, right?
Yes.
And Captain Hook finds
he
him?
he wakes up and he's like, where the heck am I? And Tinkerbell immediately, like, helps him get, like, a pirate disguise.
So he lands and he's just on the ship already?
He's
like
he's in, like, the
He's
pirate
near
town.
the pirate town.
Yeah, he's, like, in the
Okay.
town that's
Eventually
on
he
shore.
will walk the
But
plank.
he gets on the ship.
A little bit here, though.
And there's, like, this great, like, the great unveiling of Captain Hook, and Dustin Hoffman is amazing.
So, he's a chameleon in this
Oh,
role.
I had
too.
no
He's
idea it was him
phenomenal.
for
disappears
years.
behind the makeup. And Bob Hoskins as Smee.
Yeah, Bob Hoskins
Can't
is
forget
so
him.
good as Smee.
Bob Hoskins is probably my favorite part of this whole movie.
And so, yeah, there's, like, the big reveal that it's him and that he has the kids. And he announces to all the pirates, he's like, haha, I got Peter Pan's kids. We'll get them this time.
And then Peter Pan goes to confront him, and then, like, Mr. Hook.
You know, you just show the respect. Show him respect.
Sir Captain Hook, like, easily disarms him. Or it's like, you're not the Pan that I remember.
Yeah,
It's like, he's very disappointed.
He even
with this
accuses
Peter.
him of not being Peter. He's like,
Yeah,
you're
he-
clearly not Peter
He
Pan.
can't even fly. That's like this
Yep.
one thing that Peter Pan did, and this guy can't do it.
Yep. And he's just, like, begging for his, like, Peter's just begging for his kids back. And so they make him walk the plank at some point.
Yeah, they tie him up, and then, because he's just a fraud.
Yeah.
And they make him walk the plank, and it's like, if you could fly, you can do it, but he can't fly, so he just falls. And
Yeah, and so when he falls in the water,
he
some,
gets
like,
saved by a bunch of mermaids.
steal
just,
him.
And just start making out
He
with
just
him.
gets
Yeah,
to
they do.
make out with mermaids.
He
Yeah.
does. 3 mermaids.
And they're
the
some
same
cute-looking
time?
ladies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The-
Oh.
in the mermaid
It's pretty
grove.
hot.
That's what mermaids do, man.
But it's like he needs the air from the mermaids or whatever.
Oh,
yeah, so it's
yeah,
not
that's what it
really
was.
cheating,
That's
you know?
what it was.
It's both making out
He's
and
still committed to
survival.
Moira. So
To who?
his wife is named Moira.
Moira?
Moira.
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 Mordor. Mount Doom. So then he meets up with the Lost Boys
Yeah.
for the first time.
And they also don't believe that he's Peter Pan.
And then he just gets like beat up by the Lost Boys, right?
Yeah,
He
there's,
wants
like,
the
this
Pan.
really-
Rufio
so-
comes out and like lays down the law.
Yeah, there's like a whole chase through their whole little area, so you can just see
on,
all
like,
the
skateboards, right?
Yeah, part of it's on skateboards.
yeah, where they're being half pipes.
They have like that really cool like slot car skateboard track that goes around their whole thing. This was basically just like, as a kid, I was so jealous of where the Lost Boys lived because it was the coolest thing in the world.
And didn't they play basketball on these
They
skateboards?
yeah, they do, and because they have
Some
a
kinda
basketball hoop
crazy
in the half
skateboard
pipe.
basketball
Yeah, that
game?
they will skate up and do dunks on.
It always reminded me of the Ninja Turtle Foot Clan hideout. in
Yes,
that movie.
it is. Yeah, it's
Really
very
cool. But without
I
the
could see
cigarettes
that.
and video games, I
right?
guess.
And the
But
the
just as
black
much
market
fun.
goods.
Right. So Rufio is like the head honcho in this town.
Yes, Rufio is the head of the
He's
Lost
the
Boys.
leader.
Yeah. Does he end up like kicking Pan out,
He-
or what
he-
happens with that? Because that interaction comes later, where they like
they have
try
a
to
big
upstage each other.
confrontation where Tinkerbell is trying to convince the Lost Boys that it's for sure Peter Pan,
Yeah.
and Peter's like, "Don't, she's crazy. I'm not Peter Pan." Tink tells him give her 3 days to like get him into Pan shape, and
Get him spick and
get him
pan.
spick and pan.
Send him off to Pan Camp.
And like one of the kids like just comes over and is like, "Oh, I see, it's Peter Pan, everybody." And
No,
then,
that
Yeah,
happens
he
later.
like pinches his cheeks.
No, that
or
happens
something.
later.
That does
Oh,
happen later.
okay.
Yeah, because he still has to go through like a montage of like Tinkerbell trying to like get him to remember how to fly and stuff like that.
Yeah, and doesn't
I think that happens earlier.
Doesn't it happen like pretty early on where Rufio like challenges him to a sword fight?
Maybe.
I think it happens at the beginning. He challenges him to a sword fight.
And then wins.
And he like slices his belt off.
Yeah, he does. He slices his pants off.
Is he wearing heart underwear? That's the real question.
Yeah, so like Peter Pan like loses really, really bad.
And the whole time he's like, "What are we? These swords are dangerous. Stop doing this. You're just a kid."
Oh yeah, because later he pants as Rufio. There's a whole pants thing happening.
But because the whole time the idea is that he's being an adult. So like every time the Lost Boys are doing stuff, he's just like, "Quit being kids. Cut it out." I'm an adult.
Where's your parents at?
Yes, he does ask that I think a couple times. Then finally the kids are like, "All right, we'll hang out with this old guy for."
They start like a couple of them start teaching him the ropes.
Yes.
A couple of them are not sure. Rufio is like against the whole thing, like doesn't want to participate.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know if it's that he doesn't believe or he's jealous. He's worried about not being the leader. So then there's, I don't know if it's just a montage or if it's the rest of like a good chunk of this film is like the training.
Yeah, does Julia Roberts get large at this point?
Not
no.
Yet. That's right before the climax. Yes,
okay.
they do.
All right, so that's a move. I'm a jumping gun a little bit.
And so they like do their training and. You also get to see Captain Hook trying to
win the children
over.
In particular, Jack.
Because Hook is basically depressed after realizing that Peter Pan is terrible now.
He wants Smee to stop him from killing himself.
That's one of the
Stop
best.
me, Smee. Don't stop me, Smee.
Try to stop me,
Don't
Smee.
stop
Try
me,
to stop
Smee.
me.
Try to stop me, Smee. Don't stop me, Smee.
I'm so excited to watch this movie. I love this movie.
He's got that great mustache. Oh man, that part with Hook in where he's depressed is wonderful.
Yes, and
great.
And doesn't Jack like kind of break him out of it? And then he's like, I need to help train this kid or something.
Well, I think
like
it's Smee suggests he's like he like Hook's basically like, what could I possibly do to Peter that he hasn't already done to himself? Because he's already become an adult and totally antithetical to what Peter Pan is. And Smee's basically like I mean, win his kids over, like make them your kids, and then he doesn't even have kids anymore.
And Jack's starting to like lose his memories of home, like throughout the movie.
Yeah, the daughter,
the little girl,
the daughter is committed. She's like, Hook sucks. That's my dad. Get out of here. But like, Jack is like, he never comes to my games. I wonder too if he went to the play, but he didn't go to the baseball game. So Jack was like, oh, I see, I'm not important.
Well, I don't think he went to the play, or I think he went to the play, but then had to take a phone call and leave.
Maybe
he totally missed. He
for sure missed the baseball game.
He was on a flight back.
But I'm wondering if that might play into why the daughter's committed to Peter, and then Jack is willing to be like, oh, he doesn't care about me. Like,
the play might play into the play.
Like, and I feel like Hook says like, he went to her play, but he didn't come to your game, and he knew how important it was.
But were there any plays in the game? He missed the game.
Probably he missed the game-winning play while the
you
play
was a game.
Yeah, was afoot.
So I think at this point, like, Hook wants to recreate that baseball game and
that does me how to play baseball. And like all the pirates are playing baseball, one of them like steals a base and gets shot for it.
Yeah, he does.
It's a really startling moment.
I think he gets shot and then someone says like, no, that's in the rules, and like he's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because he starts running and the guy's like, he's stealing second, and someone just shoots him, and Hook's like, no shooting, I told you.
Is Bob Hoskins the pitcher? Am I making that up?
Yes, he is.
It's really good. And they kind of set it up for like Jack to get the big win too.
Yeah, and while the game's going on, Peter Pan and some of the Lost Boys sneak in because their plan is to steal Hook's hook as I
still think we kind of jumped.
That's just to embarrass Captain Hook. So they go there to steal the hook, and Robin Williams ends up watching the game instead and like cheering for Jack like behind the bleachers.
Isn't he won over by the Lost Boys at this point? Hasn't he won the Lost Boys' trust at this point though?
Well, yes, but I think that happened like earlier on.
I think he won a little bit of the Lost Boys' trust, but he's not quite Peter Pan yet.
But because they still have to do
he doesn't have the
fight.
Abilities that Peter Pan has.
So maybe the little kid does recognize him.
The little kid like mushes his face and then says like, "Oh, there you are, Peter." And a bunch of Lost Boys come over.
Oh, he splits them in half, right? It's like half of this side's Rufio, half of this side's for Peter.
Sure.
And so the little kid's advocating for him to Rufio and the rest of them. And it like splits them, and so that's when they're like, "All right, well, we'll try to make him a Peter Pan."
Okay.
Should we jump back to the food scene? The food
fight
scene?
is awesome.
That was one of my favorite scenes.
I know, it's so good. It's so good.
None of the food looks edible. It just looks like
It's all
mushy goo.
it all
Colorful
looks
mushy
like
goo.
Superman ice cream.
Yeah, or it's like it's like
Plastic
mashed
fruit
potatoes
turkey
with like
legs.
some type of
like
food
puddings
coloring.
and
It was like
exactly.
a Dr. Seuss
yeah.
feast.
Yeah, a lot of sherbet or something.
A lot of
Yeah.
sherbet.
Plus, it's not even there. Do you not need to eat in Neverland? Do you just not get hungry, or is it like just their outlet?
you
or...
don't.
It's
get
Neverland,
hungry.
so
It's
if
all-
you think
it's
you're
all
eating,
make-em-ups.
It's
you're
all
eating.
within your imagination.
I mean, if you're not aging,
Your imagination. So
Wait, so Brad, did you say that you think the food fight scene happens after the baseball?
well, I feel like
match?
this food fight scene is when the Lost Boys get on Peter's back, like fully.
well, that's when Peter
Yes.
starts to believe because
Yeah.
still up to that point he's like
right after the scene, he starts flying around and he beats Rufio in that fight and pantses him, and I'm like, he's got the
okay,
golden
so
sword.
I would
the
agree
sweet
with
golden
that.
sword.
that's not right. He still has to go to the little cave and find a teddy bear and learn to fly.
what?
That happens with the. Well, yeah. Well, that's part of the Tinkerbell training montage.
Yeah, but it's right. It's like right after he learns to fly that he like does he's flying around and cuts Rufio's pants off.
It's after the food fight.
He's
though.
got to find
No?
his happy thought.
Yes, he
Oh,
does.
okay.
But yeah, the food fight is really because that's where like
You go ahead, do it.
Tinkerbell.
Say it. I know you have it in you. You're food.
Oh, no. I was thinking about just
Rufio-
when he's like,
Rufio
"There's
purple
nothing
fight?
here," and then he pretends to throw food at Rufio, and that's when he
Oh.
suddenly makes the food real and it
Yeah.
like splats in
You
Rufio's
did
face.
it, Peter. That little kid's like all crazed for him. How do they know it happened?
How do they know it happened? That's a good question. Well, he does call him a lewd, crude, rude bag of pre-chewed food, dude.
Lying, Klein, spine, prine, ultra pig! You lewd, crude, rude bag of pre-chewed food, dude. Make it right, Peter!
One more time.
Because they're having the big argument, and that's when he yells, "I'm a lawyer," because he's like, "Don't mess with me, man. I'm a lawyer." And I was like, "Oh boy, that's not what you say when you want people to take you seriously."
But the little kids, they're dumb. They'll probably do whatever you say.
But yeah, you're right. He has to find his happy thought in order to fly. And so that's like after the baseball game, that's when he gets serious. He's like, I need to get my kid back because my kid doesn't care about me.
Does anything happen at this baseball
Does he
game
get
when they
found out again, or how do they? Does he just end up leaving?
He just ends up leaving because he's about to take the hook, and that's when the big ending happens where Jack hits the home run.
Yeah.
And like all the guys were like running. They had like big sign that said like
Jack
Run home, Jack.
Yeah, run home, Jack.
And Jack's
and then
like,
he starts saying it
run
too.
home, and then he like Hook yells at him. He's like, no, they're backwards, and he flips him around so it says home run, Jack.
Oh
And then he hits like this huge home run, and Hook says, "That's my boy," and like goes and like hugs Jack, and Robin Williams is like, "But it's my boy," and then he gets depressed and leaves.
That's sad.
I know, right? And that's the end of the movie.
So
Okay, all right. Let's go on to part
was
two.
okay, so after that happens, is that when the food fight scene happens?
It might be. It's hard to
Okay.
tell. There's so many of like the little Lost Boy training bits.
Sure, I'm sure there's like a down point like right after that.
Can we talk about Rufio's hair for a second? Is he like a rooster man?
He's like an anime character.
Kind of like like an anime
rooster.
skunk head. Like I think actually that's one of the jokes that Roman says. He's got like a skunk on his, or uses too much moose, because it's like it's all
crazy.
anime character. Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole all the Lost Boys are like wearing leaves and like really like tribal clothing, right? The whole look of
Not
them.
all
is-
of them. Some of them are wearing like old time. Like one of them has
Stolen
like a
pirate
bowler
things.
hat kind of thing. And
Yeah, they're all kinda-
that stuff. They're all wearing different types of clothes.
Rufio's wearing like I think all black, but he has like a black vest.
Yeah, he's got like just like a black leather vest, no shirt underneath, warrior style. And there's also like there's the one fat kid that
He turns into a ball at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yes.
it's amazing.
Yes.
He's got like a little French sailor suit outfit on with like a
Yeah,
beret and
yeah.
everything. So yeah, they all kind of different clothes.
Okay, so the food fight scene happens. He starts to believe he's Peter Pan, and I
Yeah.
think at this point he starts flying.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they draw the line again, and everyone just rushes to his side.
Yeah.
After,
Yes, including Rufio, who like presents him the sword and tells him like he really is Peter Pan.
You are the Pan.
Yeah, and it's a really dramatic scene. It's very nice, very touching.
And then they do that the yelling. Isn't there like a thing?
Yeah, they have to crow. That's part. I guess that's part of the Pan lore. Is
That's
that you
my
can
that's my
crow.
best-
It was
my
a
best crow.
cockadoodle
That was
doo.
classic. Are you Peter Pan?
Doodle doo.
Brad, are you really Peter?
Drop another one.
Missed opportunity in this film. I feel like that should have been The Crow. I don't know.
He's dropping so many Arrested Development references.
I think Arrested Development took a lot from this movie.
Clearly.
So now it's the big showdown. They're gonna go get the kids back.
Yeah.
Right? He's rounded up the Lost Boys. They got a plan.
They have like their
He
armor up
makes out
montage.
with Julia Roberts.
Yes, that does. That's after the crowing and everything. They get ready for the next day, and like he goes to see
Bangarang. I forgot about Bangarang.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Bangarang.
like
Oh my
that.
gosh, I forgot part one.
Yeah,
about
that's their
Bangarang.
catchphrase. They lost for the Lost Boys. But he goes to see like Tinkerbell in her house, and she's like crying.
Yeah.
But in this fancy dress, and then finally he's trying to ask her why she's crying, and then she just like blows up out of nowhere into human size, makes out with him a bit, and then shrinks down and like pieces out.
Yeah, explain to me why that happens, Chris.
No idea.
It happens because she's in love.
Yeah, I
She's
think.
definitely in love with him.
Yeah, I think she tells him that she'd always wanted, like, always kind of been in love with him.
That was always forced in though, because it was definitely Wendy and Peter like all the way. Tinkerbell was always a little lady.
It's like a love triangle.
It's just like you get Julia Roberts in there. It's like, oh, we got to have these two people kiss. People are gonna want to see it. We gotta
Right.
put those butts in the seats. We gotta get these two people locking lips.
Gotta get that makeout going on.
Yeah.
She only makes out with him after he reverts back to like his 9-year-old Peter Pan state, though, which
What
is
does that
kind of
mean?
weird. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is this like a big situation where?
Also, throughout the film,
Blank check situation.
Ooh, blank check situation.
his outfit, his hair, everything about him starts to gradually turn in more wild and crazy.
Yeah,
That's like something that happens.
Yeah,
As
he
he
starts
becomes Pan.
to become like hyperactive in a way. Like
Yeah.
the everything that he's talking is like super fast and rapid, and he's just like
yeah.
all over the place.
He becomes a kid again in a way.
Yeah.
Does he wear tights?
He does.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. He has never had the hat on though. He never has the Peter Pan hat.
No, I don't think he does. Okay, he has no idea. He's like, "There's a hat.
Maybe they reference it like in the background of one of the scenes.
There's a Peter Pan hat.
What are hats?"
Maybe Wendy has it in the background of a scene in her house or something. I don't know. We'll look for that Easter egg.
That's a good idea.
So so what's the plan really? Just to like attack the pirate ship?
Yeah, I don't know if they have like a plan for more than like let's attack them and get the kids.
That seems like a bad plan.
It really.
They gotta have a
Wait a
plan.
second.
I mean, considering like that kids are coming up with this plan, I mean, I don't know how much of a tactician I would expect them to be.
Maybe he wants Jack to do something to kill Peter or what's going on? Isn't the daughter like tied up, like gonna be dropped into the water? There's like stakes that happen that Hook like.
It was okay. I think during the first
things
meetup on the
happen.
ship when he was like, "You're not Peter Pan," Tinkerbell makes a deal with Hook
Oh,
that they'll have a fight in 3 days.
You're right. That's the deal.
Because Hook just wants the glory of beating Peter Pan. That's what's in it for him. And yeah, for Peter, it's to get his kids back. So those are like the stakes.
Got it.
So yeah, so the fight was like scheduled for 3 days from that day.
Okay, so is the plan basically just to go to the fight, or does Peter go to the fight and like then the Lost Boys out of nowhere just like ambush?
Sort
the
of.
ship?
They have to
I
have
think.
a plan.
He like shows up on the ship and is like, "I'm ready to beat you," and then Captain Hook pulls something sneaky or something, I feel like. And that's when he's like, "Oh, help, Lost Boys!" And then they like jump out of nowhere with all their bamboo armor
and they come out.
and tomato
And
cannons.
there's a big fight, and at some point during the fight, Rufio and Captain Hook are one-on-one,
They are.
and Captain Hook kills Rufio.
Oh man, I
Wait,
couldn't.
what?
Dabs him right
As a
in the
kid,
heart.
I
Dabs
couldn't even watch that scene as a kid. I legit had to like
remember this.
look away when it
Dies.
happened because it made me so
rough.
sad.
I don't remember this happening at all.
Yeah, it's really dramatic.
It
And
is.
then Rufio and Peter have kind of that father-son moment there.
Yeah,
he's,
yeah.
He's cradling Rufio. It's
And I
like,
think Rufio specifically says like, "I wish I could have had a dad like you."
Yep.
And because
I just got chills just now talking
yeah,
about
they're all
this.
lost boys, and he's
I'm
yeah.
gonna call my dad after this.
Everybody call their dads.
So he holds he like so Rufio dies, and that's when Peter's like kind of stops kidding around as a kid,
Yeah, it's time to get down to business.
and now he's like, okay, that's not cool. And so now then the two of them really start having their duel, and
Doesn't Jack like see Peter like fighting and flying around, and he's like enamored with him?
yeah,
And he's
yeah.
Like, Whoa, there's something
as when
my
he's
dad's
as he's
doing
dressed
cool
as a mini
things.
Captain Hook, and that's when he starts watching me. He's like, wait,
Does Captain Hook want to take his hand? Does that happen? Did I make that up?
I That sounds.
He
think he does.
totally did.
I think that's. I
He
think
wants to like
that's
chop
right.
his hand off.
Yeah.
So he could give him a hook.
Oh.
I know he pierces
Are
his
they
ears.
just trying to
Oh,
become
yeah.
each other in a
Well,
way?
he's trying to make a little.
He's
hook.
trying to make a little hook. Yeah, he's trying to convert Jack to be a fully little Captain Hook.
Don't call him Little Hook.
Lil
What's
Hook.
wrong with Little Hook? Little Hook.
The Adventures of
trying
Lil
to-
Hook.
He's trying to make a Lil Hook.
He just got a little hook. Who does Smee fight somebody?
Smee like runs away from the fight
I
and
think
starts
he-
stealing
yeah.
all the treasure.
Loaded up
Yeah.
on treasure.
Yeah.
and
He's a
hit
real
the road.
pirate.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a real
Yeah.
pirate move.
I feel like this movie gives pirates kind of a bad name. They're not great fighters. You know, all these
True.
kids are
The
just
kids are kicking their butts.
whooping them.
Yeah, to all our pirates out there.
Do the balloons
Sack up.
fall out of his pantaloons?
I'm sure they do. I have to believe they do. I don't explicitly remember it, but it's got to happen.
That's got to be in a rap song. That's a good rhyme. That's a solid rhyme.
That was some rap about pirates talking about it.
Exactly.
So they have their fight.
Yeah. Eventually, he starts hearing a ticking noise, and then that alligator clock tower
It's like
falls
a,
on him.
It's
and
like a
kills him.
sneak attack. All the Lost Boys whip out clocks because Hook can't
That's their
stand
that's
clocks.
their final hurrah.
And yeah,
That's right.
and the big alligator that ate his hand, who he made into a clock tower, falls on him and eats him. I guess.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
kind of disappears under it.
Yeah.
And I was kind of disappointed that I never got to see an alligator as a kid. I wonder if like the effect just didn't work or they didn't even bother. But I wanted to see an alligator really bad, like giant alligator.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
giant. It
but
was just
It was a clock. It wasn't the
clock.
same.
Yeah.
in the wild.
But in a way, I mean, you still get like that alligator story. He murdered that alligator that was trying to kill him or eat him all the time. But it like in a way, in a roundabout way, it ended up getting its revenge back.
It's an alligator clock too. It has like a clock in its stomach.
Yeah,
or
in its
something.
mouth. Yeah.
Doesn't it? It has like an open mouth, and doesn't like its open mouth
Yeah.
fall on top of
Yes.
It eats
Yep.
them.
The clock falls
Yeah.
out of its mouth, and then the alligator falls down and eats.
And then you never
You
find
don't see
you never
it eat
find a
him, it just
body.
falls down. Yeah, it's just he's just gone. Like I think the kid
Like, the
specifically
kid
is like,
just
he's
freaking
just
out about
gone. And then like the alligator burps.
Is there a moment where he hears a ticking before this, either like in his pirate office or?
Yeah,
Ooh,
he
you know
he
what?
shows Jack a room that he has full of broken clocks.
It was one of those bonding moments where
Yeah.
they smashed pocket watches together.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
That scene was good.
And
Yeah.
earlier in the film, Ron Williams had given him a pocket watch that he was like, hey, this has been passed down to my family. And so
Family
Hook
heirloom.
makes him smash it as like his last let go of like his old life.
Wow.
Deep.
And it's like you can do anything you want here. There's no repercussions.
Right. So he's like,
Just let him go.
beat up some clocks, and then one of them starts ticking, and Hook starts to freak out. So that's kind of how they foreshadow he hates clocks, and they give him PTSD.
Why does he hate clocks again?
Because the alligator had a clock in its stomach.
Yeah.
The alligator that took his hand.
So every time it
So
was
the-
near,
the
you could hear
original.
it ticking.
That's OG Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Does his wig? He has a wig.
He does, and
Oh, yeah.
Peter flips it off at one point, and everyone's
And he's
like,
like completely bald.
Yeah.
Underneath.
Yep.
Right. All the kids just laugh at him.
Then he asks for it back because he's like, I want some dignity.
Oh yeah. But that's like it's a tricksy thing. Doesn't he like get an advantage
I
on
think
Peter?
so, yeah. And
for
then he
that?
tries like a one last sneak attack
Right.
before the alligator falls down.
Like tries to stab him and then he misses and then Captain Hook maybe ends up making the alligator fall on his own, or
That
he
could
ends up
be.
causing like a
Some
Rube Goldberg thing where like something knocks the alligator over.
like yeah, like there's something
Yeah.
bumps into it or something, and then all the wood just breaks away, and that's when it falls down on him. Something like that. But he gets the kids, and then he has to say goodbye to the Lost Boys, and he has to appoint a new leader.
And it's that kid who turned into a ball.
Yeah, it was the kid.
Is it really?
It is. It's the kid who turned into a
Yep.
ball. Because there's this scene where like he's going back and forth about who to give it to, and he slow rolls all those kids. They all are like, oh, "It's me," and then he's like, "Nope."
Who to give the golden sword to?
And then finally, that sword was so cool. It had like a coconut handle and a gold blade, and I was like, I need one of those as a
Do you have-
9-year-old.
Do you have one now?
I don't.
I bet they had that as a toy.
I'm
had
sure they
to
do.
have.
I bet you can find like high quality replicas online.
It's out there. It's got to be.
What's the hierarchy of the Lost Boys based on like size, like height and weight? Isn't that kind of like because Rufio was taller
It
than
kind of
everybody?
seemed like it. He's
Fighting
definitely the
ability,
oldest.
He's older than all of them.
Yeah, he's
too.
definitely the oldest one. And it seemed like his like second in command kind of guy was one of the bigger kids too. So that could have been the original hierarchy at least. Mm-hmm. Before Pan came in and mixed it all up. Mm-hmm. So under new management.
Under new management. Okay.
Oh. All right. So after the fight and everything, do they basically just fly back to Wendy's house?
Yeah, well, Peter teaches the kids how he's able to fly, and all you have to do is think of your happiest thought. And the little girl thinks of mom.
Yeah.
And then he thinks of dad.
Yeah, and so then the two of them fly away on their own, and he stays behind for a minute so he could say bye to Lost Boys and all that. And then
Tinkerbell maybe takes them home or something.
And and then he goes home, and he like wakes up outside in the snow, and is like the happiest guy on earth as everything happened.
But isn't there a point where at this point where Wendy actually passes away?
I don't think that happens at all in this movie.
That doesn't happen?
No.
I don't think so.
That's too sad.
No.
They already had Rufio die.
Yeah.
They can't have Wendy
Just
die
Rufio
too.
dies.
Okay, am I
Just one
thinking of
guy.
the ending of
And that
Titanic?
pirate guy.
Probably. She
Okay.
didn't die
I mean,
that
they both
either,
have ships
Andy.
in them.
She totally died at the end of Titanic. It wasn't Maggie Smith though. But I also remember that young Wendy is actually Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah. When he's telling the story, I don't know if he's telling the story of like when he kept visiting Wendy, and one of like the 10 seconds of Wendy that you get from different ages is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, she's in it's like a 30-second scene.
Yeah.
All right.
And then he keeps visiting her, and she keeps getting older and older, and finally he's like, "Hey, your granddaughter's pretty hot though."
That's weird.
That's how it worked out.
Carried
Right?
through.
He's like, I was in love with your grandma once.
That's
and
a
now...
really weird through line that happens in the Peter Pan films.
It really is. They kind of gloss over it, but there's a scene where he comes to visit Wendy, and she's like, "I'm really old, Peter," and turns around and he's like, "Oh God," because she is too old.
And then he's just a better person.
Yeah.
Just like that.
And
nobody changes anything. And did they even like bring it up? Like, did they remember? Because that's like a thing, right?
Yes.
Like, they use
the
their
kids
memories.
and him, I think, all remember. He like busts into the room.
Does he promise to come back to Neverland?
I don't know if he does or not.
I also feel like if
They run into Smee though back in the real world. He's
really?
He's working in a park and he's just like sweeping up some stuff and he's like,
Yeah, he's like a
"Hello,"
janitor.
and just like,
"Hello."
and he's like, "Wait a minute," and he's just like, walks away.
Just lets me go.
It was really
He's
good.
got like a golden tooth or something.
I feel like the longer they're away from
What if he
Neverland,
does?
though, these kids are gonna forget.
They,
that this all
and that's what happened to Peter. So I wonder.
Yeah,
if
I
that's
feel
gonna
like that's
happen.
gonna happen to them.
But
too.
at least they'll have a nice dad now, so they got
Sure.
some out of it that will last for a couple months, and then he'll go back.
I mean, he's
to
still
being
got to make a
miserable.
living.
I
He's
mean,
still got to
he
be a
has
lawyer.
to take those
Right.
business calls.
No, he breaks his phone, or I think he. When it got thrown out the window in the beginning, the dog buried it, and it starts ringing, and he like finds it when he gets back from Neverland and answers it, and he's just like he's explaining to his coworker guy that he's just like, "No, it turns out I'm Peter Pan. Yeah, flew all around. It's pretty great. It was a lot of fun, but I gotta go." And just hangs up on him and like throws the phone away.
Oh, so now he's unemployed.
That's what I'm wondering. I was like, that deal
He
falls
should
through.
have He can go to Neverland just to get that treasure.
I mean,
That's true.
He just needs to wait, I think, for Wendy to die because she seems like she's loaded and that he's in line for inheritance on that one. So he's probably like, I don't need to worry about my job right at this point. She's like 100.
What if he just murdered her in the very beginning of the movie and then just got all that money?
I bet she left all the money to the orphanage. She seemed like the type.
He's like, why? But there is a scene. The mom never did any of this adventuring stuff. So
Yeah,
like when
that's
they
kind of
get
a
back,
bummer.
she just like comes into the room all depressed and sad because her kids have been abducted, and she like is standing there, and then both her kids are like, "Surprise, we're here!" And she just like breaks down.
Yeah, because they have like the blankets like covering over
Yeah.
them completely, and they pop up and they're like, "Mom!" And then yeah, she's
Yeah, I was
super
going to comment
happy.
on just the lack of women in the movie too. Just
Yeah.
in general, like there's like nobody in Neverland other than the
There's the
daughter.
mermaids?
the daughter, and Tinkerbell,
And
mermaids.
Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Well, they're called the Lost Boys. They're not called the
Well,
Lost
there's like
Children.
an Indian tribe with like a princess or something.
That's
in
not
the Peter
PC,
Pan
Brad.
film.
That's not okay.
The Cleveland Indians.
That's even less okay. But yeah, I think that's pretty much like he gets back, and the idea is that he's a changed man now, and loves his family before, and he didn't I think because the idea, like, way back, his happy thought was when he became a dad. That was the one he found when he was trying to remember how to fly.
Yeah.
No, he says it was
when
you.
Jack was born.
Well, because he tells Jack it was when Jack was born, and so that's why. And then he tells Jack in the fight, he's like, "My happy thought was you," and just like flies away.
Cruddy for the daughter, though, huh?
Well, he went to her play though. Okay, so you got enough love. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much
The
where it
hook?
wraps up.
That's
He
all the
does. He finds Toodles marbles
Yeah,
and gives them back to
He
him.
finds the marbles.
All right.
That's right.
So poor Toodles. Oh, and then I think Toodles flies back to Neverland, and I was like, "How are those little boys going to take
Oh,
that?"
Toodles
Be like,
does fly back.
That's
like this,
right. That's
like
like the
80-year-old
last-
dude
Why does that
is
happen?
crazy.
So Toodles must have, maybe he was a lost boy at one point.
He was, yeah,
He
that's the
was.
idea, because he
Yep.
finds them in Neverland, and because the ball kid gives them to him. He's like, "Here, these belong to Toodles. He was there a long time ago," and
Oh,
that's when
yeah.
Pan laughs. He's like, "He really did lose his marbles," and
That's a good callback.
so he gets the marbles, and then there's also some like fairy dust in the bag of the marbles, so he like sprinkles it on himself and then flies away.
So an 80-year-old man with an island full of young boys.
Which, yeah, that's what I'm like. He's gonna show up, and these kids are gonna be like, "We have nothing to talk to him about. Like, we do not relate to him."
He's just
being
complaining
old.
about like arthritis and his back hurting.
My bladder doesn't work like it
He's
used
like, I
to.
gotta see the doctor every single month.
gotta-
and like 5 of them. I have to see 5 different doctors.
I have to pee 10 times a night. My prostate's
well,
the
you
size
can't-
of a
If
softball.
you can't eat food in Neverland, I doubt you can poop. Just putting
That's a
that
good
out
question.
there.
Do you need to poop in Neverland?
I was
And
gonna also
where
talk
do you
about how
poop?
like I think I would not want to be in Neverland. It seems boring.
You
You just get that
yeah.
one skate park and there's like nothing else to do on the island.
I know. It seems like Pirate Town had some stuff going on.
Yeah, I'd rather be if I was in Pirate Town. I guess that'd be pretty sweet. But just in general, as far as imaginary worlds go, Neverland's like bottom of my barrel.
Yeah, and at least
Yeah.
in Pirate Town, there's like a chance you might accidentally get killed for trying to steal a base or something. Like, you live every day in constant fear of your life. Whereas I feel like the Lost Boys just live every day the same as the last because that's all they can do.
I guess I'm gonna call it quits. But I have one last question: does Hook make any attempt to get the daughter on his side?
I think so. And then, but he like writes her off as a lost cause really early.
Yeah.
and realizes that Jack's the one he can get.
Why is she in the film?
I think she keeps reminding.
She's the only little girl in the entire movie.
She keeps reminding Jack of Dad and back home and things like that.
She's
So
Jack's
it's like-
moral compass.
Yeah, it's like you got Hook on one shoulder and you have her on the other shoulder.
Yeah, actually, that is kind of how they play out, where she's kind of trying to always pull him back, and he's trying to
Yeah.
hit him the other way.
I
So
think she kicks Hook in the knees. Is that in the shins or something? Like
She-
you're a meanie, Mr. Hook.
she does tell him he's a very
You're
bad
a
man.
meanie.
Mr. Hook.
Is that what that movie was about?
I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna watch Hook, and we're gonna see what the heck we got right, what we got wrong. So join us in
It'd
part
be good.
2. Are you excited?
I'm very excited for this film. I've never said that before.
It's
though.
showing.
We have way more listeners on our SoundCloud than we do anywhere else. So I just want to remind you, if you go to whatremember.com, you'll be linked to our Bandcamp, where we have 4 Christmas episodes. So if you got this far in the podcast, you should check it out.
Peter, his nose got real big. Well, welcome back to Neverland, Panda Man.
Don't listen to that stinking fairy and that brainless fungus. I got Pan's sword. I'm the Pan now. You think this guy's gonna take it from me? Rufio?
Wait, if Tink believes, maybe he is.
Are you gonna follow this drooler against Capitan Hook?
What's he doing if he's not Peter Pan, huh? He don't look happy here. And who them kids Hook's got? Give him a chance.
Those are my kids. And Hook is gonna kill them unless we do something. Help me.
Welcome back to the Bangerang Podcast. We watched Hook.
Whoop whoop.
Did you guys, we saw Hook. It was long.
It was very
It was
long.
really
Felt
long.
great
felt
movie,
like a
though.
long
It
film.
was a long film.
Yeah, it was really good.
Really good though.
There's a lot going on. And
Yeah,
a lot that we pretty much got spot on.
for sure.
I will say
I will not-
Andy pretty much
I will
like,
not apologize for knowing this movie backwards and forwards.
You went through this entire movie in
Yeah.
part 1.
You sure did.
I was pretty much reciting all the lines as we watched it.
It's true.
It was really good. I love this film.
How many times have you seen this movie?
Oh my god.
15, 20.
How many more times are you going to see this movie?
Probably as many as I've already seen it.
Which means?
Which
I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd probably say 10 times.
You've seen it 10 times, and you're going to see it 10 times.
Yeah.
So you'll see it a total of 21 times?
9 more times, right?
Because this one counts as one of the 10?
So you're at 11 now.
I
And counting.
I got like 50 more years. I got to get through the 10 more viewings.
I don't know if I'll go out of my way to watch this movie
50
again.
more years?
Maybe.
You're only going to be alive for 50 more years?
Yeah. Did you plan on longer than that? I mean, by then I'll have transcended into the machines because that's going to,
Yeah,
like
the
that
world's
movie.
going to end one day.
You're going to be
That
on
transcended?
VHS tapes by then?
Yeah.
Is it the plot of Lawnmower Man?
That's the plot of Videodrome, maybe.
So he missed one baseball game, and then the whole kid just mad at him.
If he missed
I kept
one-
saying the whole time, this is all because of one missed
But he
baseball
went
game.
to the sisters' play, and that's not acceptable,
Shouldn't
Brad.
that count to help him in his favor that he's attempting to at least see one of the kids?
That's
Yeah,
why.
but he answered a phone call in the middle of it.
It's true.
So I think he's trying, but not all the way.
Hey, phones
tried.
were pretty rare back then. I'm like, he's probably the only one in the audience that had one.
He's clearly very
Yeah.
important.
Oh yeah, he was the leader of whatever he was doing.
Seemed like
He was
it.
the top dog.
leader
Everyone
of the
kept
pack.
going to him.
Leader of the pack.
The leader of the pack.
He was
I
just
don't know what
one
you
of the
wanted
guys.
from me. I didn't know what you were baiting out of me.
You said top dog. I was trying to think of other animal
the
dog
alpha
type
male.
So his coworkers kind of like egg him on.
Especially that Brad
Yeah,
keeps calling him.
which is me. I kept
God
calling him
damn
about the
it,
whole film.
Brads are bad news.
But
It's Brad
They're
news.
Brad news.
Very
oh,
bad
yeah.
news.
Oh, here we go. So we missed
Never
that.
heard that one before.
I've actually looked for that and website addresses and names. And of course, it's just gone. Someone's already Brad news. So he was afraid of heights. We didn't catch that in the first part.
Yeah, so which was kind of part of a joke of like, he used to be Peter Pan and fly everywhere, and now he can't stand it. Which
Why would he be afraid of heights? Where would that come
people
from?
are just afraid of heights,
Just
Andy.
yeah, I don't know. Just repressed height memories. I don't know.
Maybe he's remembering.
I've become
I
more
feel like
afraid of
it's-
heights as I get older.
It's not really repressed. It's more of like a figment of his imagination in a way. Because like,
Aren't all phobias?
Whoa.
wait, what?
Hey.
I mean,
Wow.
Well, yeah. I was just saying that
Gee.
it wouldn't really be repressed though, because he could fly in the past.
I'm afraid of heights, but I don't think I've had like one bad experience that made me afraid of heights. I think I just don't want to fall and die.
Are you telling me you didn't have to climb up a pirate ship and reach out to your kids that were in a net?
Well, we've all done that.
Yeah, the
but-
one time.
there was a couple of times. I mean, it keeps happening.
Which he couldn't do, by the way. And he just wouldn't reach that extra little inch.
He was
He
so
couldn't
close.
get
He
there.
could have like jumped over to that net. It's a cargo
didn't
net.
happen.
Just grab it.
Yeah, and he ends up falling by his foot like 7 different times in the film.
Yeah, he constantly is getting snared by his feet.
Until he could fly.
And until he
Yeah.
could fly. And then it was a whole net.
It was 80 years from when he first came
Yeah, I think that's what they kind of established.
from the first Peter Pan film, I guess. So he maybe came back like 50 years after that? Because there's a flashback
Yeah.
sequence where you see young Peter Pan.
Yeah,
He ends up staying just because he falls like head over heels in love with
with
Wendy's granddaughter for some reason.
Yeah, wait.
Mora or Moira? It was pronounced both ways during the film.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, he keeps calling her Mora, but I'm pretty sure it's Moira. But he's just a lazy American.
Why wasn't Wendy good enough the first time? Why
She
did
was
he?
old.
She turned.
bruh.
She turned out to be.
Yeah, but she was
actually
Gwyneth
an
Paltrow
80-year-old
for like a hot
woman.
minute.
It's true.
She just ended up turning out to be an 80-year-old woman. He wasn't really into that at the time.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it,
It
bro.
was a phase.
He never wanted to
Well,
grow
maybe
up.
it was like, you don't grow up in Neverland, so he was only growing up on those few periods where he came back to the real world, so he came back just long enough to like hit the hormone spot, and then was like, all right, she's pretty hot in that bed right now. But by then it was too late for Wendy. And you're all being quiet, and it's making this really awkward.
Well, you said the hormone spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to put
shut me right
I'm
up.
trying to piece it together in my head, and I'm just not quite getting there.
Chris, you're there right now.
I'm there.
Nailed it.
Because he seems a little too young to be in love, but I guess
He was like
I don't know
15.
what
He
Yeah,
looked like he was 15, 16.
And then
which is where
Tinkerbell
you
wanted
get
to bang him
infatuated.
the whole movie.
Oh yeah, the whole time.
Oh my god, that
She jumped on it for a
Did
quick
Tink-
second.
that Tink was all over.
He had the tink all over him. He was covered in tink.
Oh,
He was definitely covered in Tink a
Tinked
couple
all over
times.
me.
Is that where the term tinkle comes from? Is that?
I gotta tinkle a little bit.
Get it? No.
I was gonna ask
might.
if this haircut that Julia Roberts has is this a pixie cut and that's why it was called a pixie cut?
Oh, okay.
Well,
Was that the name
I
for it?
thought it was a pixie cut, but it kind of didn't look like it. It just looked like a
Well,
mess.
it kept changing.
It did keep
kept changing
changing
color
in
and
length
shape.
and
Yeah.
style and color.
But the pixie cut was like a 60s haircut.
Yeah.
That was popularized in the late.
Well, it was like the 1920s here, Andy, in the first Peter Pan movie.
You mean the movie that was shot in 1990?
Well, in the original Peter Pan story probably took place in the 1920s, right?
But
Early
Tinkerbell
1900s?
in that had like a pigtail or like a ponytail or a bun. She had long hair.
Why did they go out of their way to give everybody good costumes and then not give her a good costume? Her costume
She had a
was-
loincloth.
Everyone else was so
That's what she
good.
had.
She just had like a pair of brown shorts.
They spent all
like
of
a
her
weird
costume
top.
budget on the one dress, and then that was
Yeah,
it.
she wears like a fancy gown.
Did they later use her costume in the Flintstones movies?
They certainly
Could have been.
could have.
They were
They
not.
were rags.
They looked like they were just like made out of like felt from like a Joanne Fabrics or something like.
Yeah, just pinching pennies with that costume.
Yeah.
Do you think that was the start of Julia Roberts' like frustration with this movie in general? Just
Give me a
she
good
had
costume.
She had to do green screen for everything and wear a terrible costume.
Yeah, that's
the
why
entire
she was
time.
so miserable in production.
Yeah, well, this has to be like one of the first, heavily green screen films for like a person, right?
Yeah, the effects aren't
Yeah.
terrible.
They're real bad sometimes, though.
I mean, they're dated for sure, but I mean, it wasn't so bad that I was like out of this film.
I will say they were bad in comparison to how great the practical sets were.
Yes. Oh my
pirate
gosh,
ship
the
and
pirate
the
ship
Lost
set
Boys.
was amazing. The Lost Boys set was amazing. I mean, they look. They kind of have the feel of like a Disney theme park almost, the way they look, and I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah, I would
it
go
was
there.
so cool. Yeah, that huge elaborate set for that pirate ship.
Those pirates are so ineffective, though. The Lost
Oh
Boys
my
beat them with tomato
Oh, man.
guns.
They beat him
Egg
with like
guns.
bubble gum and like tomatoes,
Rotten Tomatoes.
eggs.
I guess when
Some
you're a
eggs
kid, you
and a
just like
chicken.
didn't really notice that. You just kind of went along with like, oh yeah, this
Like,
is
oh yeah,
stuff that
no,
would
mirrors
work.
totally beat pirates,
Got a
right? Like,
chance.
oh, bright light in their eyes.
The one moment that I found really funny though is like as this whole battle is happening, and like they allude to it earlier in the movie, like having a big all-out war.
Yeah.
So as it's actually happening, and they're shooting off just tomatoes and gum. There's a scene where like Dustin Hoffman just looks at it, he's just dumbfounded because all the pirates are losing against these like ineffective,
He has the best
basically
face.
ineffective weapons, but they're all losing, and he's just like so dumbfounded by the whole situation.
I also liked how when that battle kicked off, it kicked off with Robin Williams just straight up running a guy through with his sword and like throwing him to the ground. Like first kill, and then after that he proceeds to just like gently beat everybody up instead of killing them.
Yeah, it was like 5 people were murdered right away, and then the rest of the people were just like,
Yeah, like how do you like to be that
Thrust
guy?
aside.
Killed right at the
yeah,
beginning
like
of the
food
battle.
was thrown at
A little
them.
bop
Oh
on the
my
head.
God.
Yeah, I feel like the kids would have seen that happen and be like, "Whoa, Peter Pan! Well, I did not sign
That
up
is
to be
not
doing
what
this
we're
thing.
doing here. I don't know what kind of war you think we're having.
This isn't what the
just
Lost Boys do.
This is a
What if he just
continuation of
pulled out
the
a
food
gun
fight
and
from
just started
earlier.
shooting
we
people?
have, we have
Like, oh
paint
my
bazookas
God.
and chicken guns.
That would have been interesting. Yeah, like Hook just comes out with him as pistols and just blows Rufio away instead. Like, oh my God, we were totally unprepared for this.
And they all give up immediately.
We missed the Glenn Close cameo.
Yeah, a lot of cameos in this film.
She goes into the boombox.
That one, Phil Collins as one of the police detectives.
David Crosby.
David Crosby is
steals
one
a
of the best
Nash.
pirates.
Robin Williams is Peter Pan.
Oh, was that
Oh.
him?
Did you guys see that cameo?
Didn't catch that.
I saw him as Peter Panning. Not Peter Pan.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
well, he
was
he
in the-
plays
just
both
the beginning.
characters.
Did you guys catch Tom Hanks as Tinkerbell?
No,
No.
no, no.
I mean, really good makeup. I mean, he looked like Julia Roberts.
and those
but-
legs.
Yeah,
Oh.
Tom Hanks has really nice legs, and Robin Williams has a very shaped chest in this film. Which
Oh,
is
man,
a
yeah.
rare look for him.
Completely bare.
Yeah, like I'm sure, like they probably had to spend the day like shaving his body before that scene.
It probably took a week.
They just spend
Waxed,
every day.
Nair.
probably.
What
I
was it?
mean, when you got Spielberg money, I'm sure you can afford the best of whatever they wanted to use. So
Did they laser it off and it just grew
right?
back?
Yeah, I bet it grew back by the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every day they had to just
my 3 o'clock body shadow.
Speaking of shadows, you dropped that word. You see that a lot. It's a motif
There
in
are,
the
yeah,
film.
there's a
We
lot
didn't
of shadow
mention that
motifs.
before.
And that's a
true.
callback from the original where he
Yep.
chases
And-
a shadow into the room.
Right, and in the flashback, he does fight with his shadow, which is very classic Peter Pan, which is cool. A lot of good classic imagery. Like you also mentioned during the film, like before in the beginning of the film, he keeps posing in the Peter Pan pose
Yeah,
as
he
he's
puts
standing
his
around, just hands on the hips. Yeah,
Fists on his hands. It's the Pan pose.
fists on
His
his
fist on his
Yeah,
hand.
he just fists his.
He starts fisting his hand.
he fists his thighs the whole film. A lot of thigh fisting.
So, what did you guys like about the film?
Dustin Hoffman, obviously.
Yeah,
my
His
gosh,
he
that
was
guy.
my lord,
fantastic as
Bob
Huck.
Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins for
Hoskins
sure.
was so
Jeez.
good. The scene, and you mentioned in the first half, the scene where Hook's gonna commit suicide is so good.
So good.
Oh my gosh, the two of them are really funny, and the set is amazing. So that helps in it just running around.
Yeah, his office is wonderful.
I almost feel like there's got to be something more to their relationship, Smee and Hook.
What are you
guys,
saying?
I don't know. I'm
What are you
saying
saying?
that,
Are they
you know,
together?
What are you saying?
I'm saying it's 2016. You know, it's okay to be out and a pirate.
So Robin Williams told us in Mrs. Doubtfire, it's the '90s.
It's the
okay?
90s.
It's the '90s.
So are they butt pirates?
Whoa.
I mean, the pirates and
What's
they
the
have
rating
butts.
on this podcast?
Usually, if there's a guest on it, it has an explicit rating
That's true.
because we can't account for what you're going to say.
But yeah, I feel like there's something more to that relationship there. Anybody else?
I mean, he was pretty quick to just bail on that fight and start collecting the treasure and
Yeah.
get out of there.
He just
so.
wanted he just was all
he's
about that
conflicted.
money.
Yeah, he's conflicted because he's still a pirate at heart, and you got to steal that money.
Did he come back as me at the end?
Yeah,
is
that's
that
always
him?
one of those things. Like, is that actually him,
Did
or
he
is that
escape?
like?
I mean, is he a rich man?
I almost feel like too the ending almost tries to make the audience wonder if it was real, but then the kids like fly into the room. Like there was all this like waking up and then the kids fly in, and I was like, oh, they could have really played it like a did this actually happen
Yeah.
or did it not?
I mean, is it possible that Smee became whatever he is? I
I
don't
wonder,
know.
like, yeah, like if
But,
he
like, did he
escaped that battle
remember-
and actually left and
Did he leave
Right.
Neverland and remember his
Right.
old
yeah,
pirate
without Hook,
self?
I mean, what else? What would he have? I mean, he lost his man.
He could be the new Hook.
So then how would he have gotten back to the real world?
I assume, however, they got there to steal the kids in the first place.
Yeah, that's a
And
little
how
unclear.
did they?
Well,
They don't have a
I
ferry.
think the Peter Pan lore is that the ship can travel. Like the ship itself can leave Neverland and go wherever.
Sure, but
But then there's a giant pirate ship over London, I guess, and no one noticed.
I don't know. But Toodles sends him on his mission. He's the one that like says you got to go get
Yeah,
Captain Hook.
that's true.
Yeah.
Not that he's gonna go though until Tink shows up.
Right. And Tink wraps him up and takes him in there, like swaddles him like a baby.
Well, she kidnapped
Takes
him
him
when
to
he
pirate
was a
world.
baby too. The whole flashback
Whoa.
sequence was all like really weird because it starts with him being like, when I was a baby, I ran away.
But he just
His carriage just blew away,
Ran
and his
away.
mom did not care enough to get it. And then
They were
Tink,
chit chatting, and then it was just like,
and then Tink
baby
found a baby
went
on
down
the
the
ground
hill.
and just stole it. Like straight up stole this baby.
I think Tinkerbell has been stealing babies this whole time.
That's all those lost boys are all.
Oh,
All
stolen
sad
Tinkerbell
because they don't
babies.
have parents and they
Baby
wish they
napped.
did.
Well, then they're
it's
not-
Tink's fault.
they're not lost boys, they're stolen boys.
And then I mean, on top of the whole like Peter liked Wendy and then got with the granddaughter. Now I'm like, Tink stole this baby and watched this baby grow up and then was in love with this baby the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some stuff
Oh,
happening
boy.
in the
It's
movie.
like-
I will say, I almost felt like I didn't need any like of the Tinkerbell love story stuff.
No, I think
I
that,
don't think
yeah.
it was necessary at all.
Yeah, I didn't like it
I
at
think
all.
this totally that
Little
totally
bit out of
could have been
place.
taken
It
out.
didn't even like fully like come like
Didn't really
round
develop.
circle. It didn't make any sense.
I theorize they just got Robin Williams and Julia Roberts in a movie together, and then they just wanted to see him kiss, so they just figured out a way
Steven
to
was
make
like,
it happen.
"All my dreams come true.
Yeah, I think it just was. It's
wait,
what-
can you say that a little bit quieter?
All my dreams."
Oh, this is ASMR recording going on. But I think early '90s audiences wanted to see them make out.
Seriously,
wanted to see
Robin
everyone
Williams
make out.
man.
We wanted to see any celebrities make out with each
Okay,
other in
all right,
films.
That's fair. That guy.
I
I
would
guess
have
I
been
can see
anybody.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just getting that going.
I wasn't sure if you were saying like them specifically.
Oh no, nobody wants that.
If you're gonna have a celebrity play Tinkerbell, I guess you got to give her some type of story, even if it doesn't fully make sense and is totally unnecessary.
Shoehorn in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're spending that money, I'd even wonder if like the studio would want to make sure you get more out of it just because they spent that money on.
Yeah, I don't like this version of Tinkerbell very much. I think the cartoon version, they like kept it. It was much better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the one people more relate to anyway.
Yeah.
Like, girls like Tinkerbell, and she's like they like that one, not Julia Roberts' versions.
She's way more human in this one than she is a pixie.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mentioned the girls in the this universe. There are hookers. There are pirate.
They are prostitutes, Brad. Please address them correctly.
Well, the movie's called Hook, and
Hookers.
It only fits.
I mean, it's the quickest step to hookers, right? They are Captain Hook's hookers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is the oldest profession.
He's got a point.
Were you defending something that I didn't know existed? Was somebody making an argument that needed defending? Because were you just?
Oh, I'm just saying, it's so old, it could be anywhere.
I mean, Neverland is timeless.
Anywhere.
Where did the pirates come from? Are they stolen kids too?
Are they? Yeah, they're like lost boys that end up growing up somehow. Like,
and why are they so bad at
there
fighting?
was also
what are the pirates doing?
like the pirates had kids as well. Were they like captured lost boys? Like the pirates?
The pirates had kids?
Yeah, the girl was with Maggie was with them during the big battle. Like she was with a bunch of other little kids in like this like pirate school.
They could have been like stolen lost boys, possibly.
That's what I'm wondering. Or maybe
Stolen
maybe
and
they're
lost.
maybe it's when the
Wow.
prostitutes have a kid. And then they become pirate babies.
I'm wondering too if like, so when you're in Neverland, you can't really age, regardless
not
if
at all.
if you're a kid or an adult, right?
But then
True.
how did baby
So-
Peter become boy Peter?
He was in the real world.
Yeah, he kept going back
You
to
age in the real world.
They didn't show
He
him
stayed
going
there.
back until he was like 5. Because he's like, Tinks told me, and then he's like, but then I got homesick, so I went home. And then he was like a boy.
I mean,
I think maybe you age to just whatever you want to be, and then
I
you
mean-
stop aging from that point on.
Yeah. Or maybe
that
you
would be my guess.
age as far as you want to age, and they don't want to grow up.
Yeah.
but
So
what I was gonna say,
He promised never to grow up in the cartoon.
what I was gonna get at is I think that maybe there's a possibility that the pirates even like invaded this Neverland and just like set up there and have like
could be.
established themselves there.
Or
as
maybe it
adults.
was just one of those like always. There's always like a good guy and a bad guy, and it's just always part of the adventure of Neverland. Maybe who knows?
We'll have to read the book.
Brad, get on it. That's your department. You always did all the in-depth research.
Did they make? Can I read the novelization of Hook? Is
Ooh,
that good enough?
I bet.
Should I do that?
Did Michael Crichton do it?
Yes, you can, Brad.
So the Peter Pan movie that came out was a prequel to it, and then this is in the future.
You mean like the Disney one?
No, that came out like last year or whatever. The Disney
Oh.
one is like the baseline present day version.
The one with the
And this
guy
one's like
from.
the future version.
I get you. The one with the guy from Tron.
Yeah.
in
So
it.
we're just
Yeah.
jumping all around Neverland, just milking it for all it's got,
Yeah, all this. Yeah, it's just Hollywood.
getting
you know.
everything out
There's
of
also
it. we can.
Finding Neverland, which is about the writer. That's the one with Johnny Depp.
There's also Finding Nemo, which is about some fish. Hey, you guys should check that
Lots
one
of
out.
spin-offs.
I've never
pretty
seen
good.
that movie. But I think we were at a point where this was perfect. Like, it didn't seem like it was pandering or banking on anything. It was just like, this is a movie that can come out. Everyone knows what Peter Pan is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the stage play and the cartoon were really popular.
Yep, it was, and I think it was the
this
right
thing
amount
going.
of fantasy and the real actors in this film. I think they did a good job. That's probably why I've seen it so many times, though.
Well, Chris, what were your thoughts?
Loved it.
Did anything give you chills? I got chills when Rufio gave Peter Pan the sword.
Oh, it's so sad.
Ooh,
The sword one's good.
that was almost a chilly moment for me.
What do you think of Rufio's outfit and or hair?
The hair was my favorite. The outfit was great. I
think you could pull both of them off.
use some new pants. I know somebody made that comment, but
So you wouldn't wear red long johns? Is that what you're saying?
the long johns were great, but the black jeans were a little bit tattered.
Cut up jeans.
know.
Look,
not
that's
your
just
thing.
that was like the one
Is
guy
that the
that had like
style?
the no FX patches on his shirts, and when you were in high school, he walking around with the black jeans all ripped up.
Yeah, what, you got to think against Hot Topic, Chris?
Okay, well, maybe I'm getting a little bit judgy. I apologize.
I gotta say, for a movie in '91 and we're in 2016, this was very diverse cast in all.
It's true.
Up and down, except for the leads.
It
But
had a really young David Allen Greer as one of the.
yeah,
Just
the
gonna
little
bring
kid
him up.
feels his face
I mean,
up.
spitting image. Unbelievable.
It had a human ball.
Yeah, that kid wraps his legs up and he turns into a weird plastic ball person.
An
Did he have
amazing
a
prop
name in
is
the
what he
movie?
turns
Did
into.
he have a name, or was he just balling?
Oh yeah, well, his name was on a piece of cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Thud Butt.
Thud Butt.
His actual name as a Lost Boy is Thud Butt.
Oh jeez.
When he put his legs up to get into that ball, it turned
And then
into
just
an
wiggled his
SNL
feet.
skit.
Yeah, there was that part really just took you right out of the
so
film.
good. Oh my
And it
god.
had to happen
Yeah,
twice.
but as a kid, I just went
Oh,
along
as
for
a
the
kid,
ride.
as a kid, I also loved when he steps on the plank of wood and it hits Crosby in the nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Set
classic.
that up. These pirates are just so ineffective.
They're
at the end of
really
the
bad
film.
at being pirates.
They should have been training just as much as Peter Pan and the Lost Boys were.
They're pirates, man. They're just drinking.
Yeah, they're too busy.
I mean,
having
weren't they
sex,
training for this
prostituting.
war for, 80 years?
killing people.
Yeah,
by
they have.
walking the
If you don't
plank.
age in Neverland, you have your eternity to perfect the art of battle, and yet they were all terrible, all
no.
of them.
They're just playing
They
baseball.
were good at anything. They weren't even good at baseball.
No, they were terrible.
One guy
baseball.
died.
Yeah.
That poor
One guy died, arguably trying to be good at baseball.
He was the best player in the game.
When he's sneaking over to that base, all
he got outed
Guy.
and shot
This
to
guy
death.
They were like, "Hey, you're trying too hard." He betrayed everything being a pirate was about.
Clearly was supposed to throw the game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! But he was on Jack's team though, trying to steal his thunder.
And Robin Williams gets hit in the head with that baseball. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
That was a thing
gives
that
him a
happened.
concussion.
Is it after he gets hit in the head that he basically turns into a child? A
I think
man
so.
child?
I think he gets a massive concussion.
That's when he remembers
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Just
He
jogs his
definitely got a
memory.
concussion, and it lasted for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Well, he gets physically
Possibly
hurt
his
quite
whole
a few times. So, do you think she wrote Peter Pan? Is that the gimmick?
Yeah,
is that
in
what you're going with?
I don't know if this is how the backstory. of the
Wendy
actual Peter
lived
Pan
it,
is,
and
but
then
yeah.
she wrote it.
Right.
Well, she had.
Did she make
help
that
writing
wallpaper that was in the room with Captain Hook on it?
I mean,
She could have, or she could have.
I think the implication seems like that it's like a literary dynasty essentially. So she's like J.K. Rowling kind of money off of Peter Pan. So I mean, I'm sure she could have had that made for her. If you're the person who wrote the Peter Pan adventures,
I guess I never even knew that before when I watched this movie, that she had written down this story, and that's where her
it's
wealth
weird
comes
too.
from, I
but
guess.
yeah, I think it's easy to miss too because they really. I mean, she kind of says my stories, but it just seems like she tells the stories a lot. But then even the police reference, when they're saying that they're even skeptical the kids are actually missing, they're given the literary history of your house or whatever, the adventure book.
Hopefully
So it's
it's a
clearly
prank.
she's well known as the author of these books.
So, I think Robin Williams is in a worse place at the end of the film from being in a childlike state of wonder. Because he has a job.
A serious
He's got
job.
kids to support.
There was a
He
$4
can't be
billion
living like a
deal
child
on
anymore.
the line. He can't. Yeah, you can't. You
You
can't
have
jeopardize that
responsibility.
kind
This
of
is the real world.
It's a lot of money, and he's blowing it.
Yeah.
Looks like Mura or Mira is going to have to get to work.
Mira's going to have to pick up some of the slack.
Yeah, finally get around to doing her own share of the work.
Yeah, get a job, Myra.
She's like, "How come you couldn't make the baseball games? I go to all of them." And he's like, "Because you don't do anything
You have
else.
nothing
Yeah.
to do.
You do nothing.
This
else.
is just a Band-Aid on a bigger problem. There's so much more for them to work out.
I mean, how fast do you think until he forgot everything that happened in Neverland again? A couple months or?
Yeah, and the kids are going to forget. It's never going to happen.
Terrible.
1 week
The
from
kids
now.
forgot their own mother in 3 days. I think it'll be quick.
And all those Lost Boys are going to be back there being like, "Peter never forgot us. I'm sure of it." And he's out there like, No, I don't think that happened.
Oh, that's crazy talk.
Nope.
Forget it.
Terrible.
Just Neverland's a bad influence. I'm against it.
It does seem overall that it has negatively affected a lot of people. All those Lost Boys were it seemed like, especially Rufio was expressing the fact that he wished he had loving parents. I think he would have traded eternal youth for having a family. It's hard to say. I don't know.
I will agree with what you had said while we were watching the movie, Brad, where you said that Rufio saying, "I wish I had a dad like you," was definitely very forced.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
It didn't seem authentic, and they barely had any like serious interactions together.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he would say like, "I wish you were my dad."
Right.
I think
Because Peter Pan's still a kid too. I mean,
He could have just said, "I wish I had a dad."
I think it was the idea that like he's
Any dad.
they're
any
watching.
dad'll do.
Anyone would do.
Any dad'll do.
Give me somebody. I think it was the idea that like Pan like came all the way to Neverland and
For
was
his
like
kids.
fighting on the ship for his kids, and Rufio gets to watch. He's like, I wish I had a dad that would fight for me, so I didn't have to live here with all these pirates every day.
I don't know.
So what are the big themes in this movie? Like nostalgia, never growing up, or
Yeah.
like responsibility.
yeah,
Shirk responsibility. Number
responsibility.
one, no responsibility.
Yeah. Which these are all bad lessons. I'm trying to think of what like the overall moral
Let's see.
of Peter Pan was even supposed to be.
Hook teaches us a good lesson that kids ruin parents' lives.
Yeah.
He made very convincing arguments.
I agree.
It sounded
There's
very
no coming
plausible.
back from that.
Clocks are annoying.
Yeah.
Yep, be afraid of time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Whoa.
yeah. Ooh.
Is that the real big?
That's deep.
Yeah.
Is that the real big
That was
message
That
here?
was a deep cut, Chris.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
The first hook is the deepest.
You got your hooks in me now. Yeah, so Captain Hook had like a secret sword, I guess, and that's how he kind of got the advantage on Peter Pan for a second at the end, and then just Tinkerbell just saves the day.
Yeah, she comes in like, what
Stops
up?
the Hook from killing Peter Pan.
She's like, even though you wouldn't sleep with me, I'll still save your life. I mean, it's the least she could do, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. And then they just leave.
They just peace out of there.
There's so much more to be done.
I think that it's pretty clear. Like, he tries to just leave like 4 times, even after he becomes Peter Pan. He's like, hey, let's just get out of here. You don't need to fight this, whatever. I don't care. And then each time he keeps like coming back for more.
And he goes to like get the hook, and he's like, I don't even care about that hook anymore. I mean, my kid hit the ball. I'm just gonna leave now.
Just keeps giving up.
Yeah.
You know?
He had some kind of plan to sneak into that game with the Lost Boys, and they were dressed up like the little rascals.
Yeah, and then nothing happened from
and then
it.
nothing happened from that
well,
scene.
because
they didn't need to
he
be in the
probably
scene.
did have a plan, but then it all fell apart when he saw that his son was really happy with it.
Well,
But the plan came together off screen
The
or
plan
whatever.
worked. Like, he got to there. He like had his hand on the hook because they were just there to steal his hook.
And if you get the hook, you'll be able to fly?
Well,
Was that their
they said like if stealing the hook will make you feel proud, which will make you feel like Peter Pan, like because you'll be proud of what you did, I guess.
And I was amazed at how they could just walk right out of there. They
poor
were just
security.
right
Didn't
even
outside of the
matter.
ballpark.
This is like
which is in the heart of Pirate City.
This is like Independence Day resurgence level security, where presidents can just walk on stages however they feel like. No one was like, those were baby faces, and all those pirates fell for it.
I guess if you're dressed like a pirate, it doesn't matter if you also look like a lost boy.
Maybe that's like one of their pirate rules. They're like, look, we're not going to judge you on how you look, as long as you're dressed the right way. You're all right.
And ultimately, if the pirates have kids, they could just be themselves.
That's
and
true.
Just blend in with the kids that are already there.
I feel like pirate kids would dress like that all the time. Maybe they're used to their own kids doing that, and so they're like, it's probably just one of those pirate kids. Whatever.
Yeah, we just had to get Robin Williams in there to see that baseball game, to see that home run hit, for him to feel bad. Then he just leaves and
That he missed the one game.
Because he missed one game of baseball. All of this happened.
He had the foresight to even
bratty
send
little
somebody.
son and again all this trouble because of one.
He's like, he got stuck brokering this deal. He had the foresight to send his assistant to go record
it at least.
Yeah, he at least sent somebody.
And
to
he made an effort. He was at the field. He
went
tried
there.
to get there.
He just got
going the extra
He's
mile
not
in my
getting
book.
mowed.
You know, he can't just leave work. That deal's gonna fall apart. He's gonna get fired, and then they're not gonna have a house. And then how's Jack gonna feel?
And who has a baseball game at 2:00 on a weekday where you expect everyone's parents to be there? When is this baseball game?
That's
really?
very true.
Come on, night games and weekends. That's when I played t-ball.
Yep. You're not wrong.
These are all accurate.
These are all facts. But as a child, I guess you're looking through the movie through an entirely different lens, right? You definitely see the parents as the bad guys.
Yeah.
Even though, and then maybe, whoa, something just washed over me.
Hey.
As an adult, I see it from their point of view.
Oh yeah, you're like
Instead
these
now.
freaking kids.
Right?
Wow.
getting all snotty about me not coming to one game.
How the mighty have fallen.
Brad, you are gonna be that guy. You're gonna be like look. It was one game, kid. I'm not even gonna bother to learn your name. I don't even care. I know you're my son, but I don't know.
Did you win the game? Then if you didn't, then I don't care.
Go sit down over there.
I
have
Brad,
important $4 billion deals to make.
Your son's gonna come up to you and be like, "Can you come to my baseball season?" You're like, "Pick a game."
You get one.
And it better not be the Santa
And if he complains,
series.
you'd be like, hey, at least I came to that game instead of that. Unlike that one guy in Hook who missed the one game. I didn't miss that game.
And little kids' baseball games are boring anyway.
And you have to deal with all those other
Try
parents.
to go to one. No.
Don't
Nobody
remind
does
me.
anything.
Especially if you don't have kids, don't go to a kid's baseball game if you don't have kids.
Don't judge. Don't judge me. Don't be throwing stones here. There was one odd comment during the insult fight where Robin Williams called Rufio a nearsighted gynecologist.
Substitute chemistry teacher?
Come on, Rufio, hit him back. Mong tongue,
Math tutor?
pinhead,
Prison barber?
mother lover.
Nearsighted gynecologist?
And that's just like one of those, Robin Williams is always going to just slip something past the censors.
Isn't that
He's
really
always-
about as far as you need to see anyway?
I was like, that was one of those I guess this is the kind of joke you would make back at the office or something.
Yeah.
I always get those confused. What's nearsighted means you can't
You see well close up.
close up, but you can't see far away. Okay.
So that's...
No, I
that
thought
wouldn't-
it's the reverse. If you're nearsighted, you can't see near.
No,
I think that
Because if
I
you're a
think-
nearsighted
no.
gynecologist, it would behoove you to be able to see close.
right, and I feel like he probably said it the wrong way.
So he should have been a farsighted gynecologist?
I think so.
maybe. I don't know how.
Nearsighted would mean
We need fact
your-
checkers.
Yeah, I don't know how
your
eyeballs
close-up
work. I have
sight
no
is
idea.
Good.
I have glasses and I don't even know. I don't have no idea how that works.
Yeah, I'm the only one in this group that doesn't wear glasses. I
And you know everything
I know
about
nothing
this.
about this stuff.
Are you a nearsighted gynecologist?
I mean, I went to school for it.
Specifically nearsighted gynecology.
I'd like to know you didn't enroll in that school. You just snuck into the classes and stood in the back.
Just like those
I didn't
kids'
even
baseball
enroll in any
games you
school.
keep
I
going to.
created the school.
Nearsighted gynecology school?
Yeah. .com. It's not even a dot.
It's an online
edu.
school.
Well, that's all I got for
Yeah.
notes and stuff.
It was
I
good.
mean,
I very much enjoyed watching this again. It's one of my favorites.
yeah, Peter Pan is, has a lot of influences. It's a story that's going to get told again and again and again and again.
I did not see the new one, so I don't know. If
You're part of the
haven't
many
seen
that
it
didn't
either.
see the
yeah, I
new
was
one.
gonna say I don't know if a lot of people. I kind of want to see just because the guy who was in Tron I thought was really good. And I was like, how has he not been in more films? And he was in that one, and I was like, I'm not going to see that.
Jeff Bridges.
Yes, Jeff Bridges.
Okay.
Jeff Bridges of Madison County. Did you ever see the who's that girl who played Peter Pan in the stage play? I watched that one a lot as a kid. Not Mary Lou Retton. That's wrong.
no.
That's the wrong thing. Mary Louise Parker. What is her name?
Mary Lou Retton, is that a gymnast or something?
Wasn't it Brian Williams' daughter?
Is it Brian Williams?
Or Anderson Cooper's daughter? I don't know.
No. The 80s one.
Oh, the 80s. I thought you were talking
Yeah.
about this.
Where it's like a
the
filmed live
show
stage play of Peter Pan.
one. There was also a very recent film live
Yeah,
stage play
with
of
Christopher
Peter
Walken
Pan.
as Mr. Hook.
Yes.
Well, the little girl calls him
I
Mr.
don't
Hook,
know.
so I feel justified in calling him that from now on. We hooked it. Hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, I was gonna beat me
Beat you to it.
By hook or by crook. WhatWeRemember.com, Twitter @WhatWeRemember, Facebook.com/WhatWeRemember. And join us next time when we watch Mystery Men.
In a place called Champion City, the forces of good and evil
Captain America, what a surprise.
are about to collide.
Well, we've always been each other's greatest nemesises. Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Now, with the city's one true hero missing,
Captain Amazing is in danger.
Kaboom! Who will step forward?
You again, wannabes.
To answer the call of justice.
Don't mess with the volcano, my man, because I will go Pompeii on your butt.
Oh, golly.
They've been waiting for this moment.
The city's in peril, Lucille.
All of their lives.
Butch needs his vest back.
Well, it's my vest, too. I bought it for him.
But now that their time has come...
I'm a superhero, too. What's his power?
Excuse me.
They're going to need all the help they can get.
We gotta find a lot of superheroes really quickly. State your name and power.
PMS Avenger. I only work 4 days a month. Is there a problem with that?
No. No. I am the Waffler.
Waffle Man! Am I too late to try out?
Sorry.
You're in.
Wow, my first mission, and we're gonna rescue Captain Amazing. Here we go.
Universal Pictures presents...
We need to talk about your plans.
I'm going to kill you.
Right, that's the part that really doesn't work for me.
A new league of heroes that step to a different beat.
Well, I am a ticking time bomb of fury.
I don't find you threatening at all. Let's do some carnage.
We're not your classic heroes. We're the other guys.
Mystery Men.
I'm invisible. Can you see me?
Yes.
Wow.
Maybe you should put some shorts on or something if you want to keep fighting evil today.